Good morning from the WVLT newsroom. I'm Harry Sullivan. Following the latest on the wildfires in Sevier County in the Wears Valley area, now a brush fire in Gatlinburg as well. Our Will Puckett has been live all morning long. He's been out there through the night. Will, where are you right now, and what's the latest that you've seen on the ground in Sevier County?
Well, Harry, we're along Little Cove Road, and behind me is 321. And if you've been following this from early this afternoon to where we're at now, 321 was really the battleground of where fire officials were staking their claim as this is the area that we can't let this fire get past, because once it got past that point, it sort of had free reign, if you will, using my own terms, not firefighter terms, but free will getting into densely populated areas of Sevier County. And so fire crews tried their hardest all afternoon into the evening to stand a defensive posture to make sure that this fire didn't hop over into 321. And while the winds have been very heavy out of the south and up moving towards the northeast, the issues that this has caused, however, is that there's been so much brush fire, so much kindling and so much fuel for these fires that it's now pushed this specific fire into both directions. And so you can see just right here an area that had just ignited roughly 5 minutes before we came live. And those big ignitions, those big flames, are indicative of what this fire has been all about. Is while it started off as a brush fire, became a wildfire, what it has become is taken a lot of cabins, a lot of homes, and possibly a few businesses from some of the individuals I've talked with down here, taking those. And so the big, huge flames that you see shoot up are officially homes, cabins, businesses of individuals here in the valley that are just catching fire and are burning to the ground. And so there's been a whole lot of firefighting along 321, again, staking that area, Harry, to try their hardest to prevent any sort of spread over the highway. Once it got to over the highway, if it ever does, and if it ever did, fire crews say that that changes the game. But their overall hope heading into tonight was that, or into these early morning hours, is that once darkness fell, they would be able to have the temperatures drop, humidity rise, and then that rainfall. And I don't know if you're able to see it yet, but a little bit of what we're seeing is some very light mist, some on and off heavy sprinkles, but nothing consistent. And that was something that fire crews were somewhat relying on to sort of batten this fire down, was some rain. And we'd heard from meteorologist Paige Noel into the early afternoon, early evening, and then from meteorologist Ben Cathy into 10 and 11, that while rain is on the way, it's not nearly the amount that would really impact this fire like we've seen in fires past. And so while crews hope that those temperatures, the humidity, and that rain would all create really a perfect mixture for them, what we're witnessing now is this fire spreading. And for the first time since I got here at 4 o'clock, Harry, you're finally able to start smelling that bonfire, that wood burning smell that you get if you just started a fire in your backyard or on a campsite. You're finally starting to get that, and the worry is that that's because of this increased spread. But again, fire officials had said that with these hours, they would return in the morning, hopefully to a different sort of fire. But right now, it is still all hands on deck to fight this, especially along 321 where we're at now.
On our screen right now, we're showing the video that you sent in. That's the fire before midnight. Pretty dark out there. You can see those flames running up the line. And then switching to that fire after midnight, just to see how much that glow has intensified. You get the better visuals of the flames. Just describe what that was like being there, watching this move up and over the mountain, if you will.
Well, specifically that fire before midnight, we were still up at the staging area, and so you could see the red glows. As the night progressed, we were actually able to start seeing what looked like that glow of blue transformer pops off in the far distance, showing just how far this fire had stretched and really the impact that it was starting to get. But once we hit over midnight and got to about the 1:30, 2 o'clock hour, we sort of ventured further in along towards 321, and that's where you get that after midnight video of those very red hues and that eerie orange glow in the sky and the ricocheting of the flashing fire truck lights off of the smoke that's in the air. And so it's really been just a progression. And our Amanda Hara had asked me earlier in the night on Wednesday night, as we're now into Thursday morning, she'd asked me if anybody had started to come up to this staging area asking, do they need to evacuate? And that's one thing that Sevier County has been pretty good at so far, is getting evacuation orders out, letting folks know, hey, you are in this area, the fire is heading towards you, leave immediately, go to the Pigeon Forge Community Center, go into the city limits and out of Wares Valley, where this fire has been blazing since 11 o'clock this Wednesday morning. And so it's just been a progression of this fire spreading. But again, the battle lines that they had chosen, for lack of better term at this stage, was Highway 321. And it is eerily close to 321. And you would hope that that spread of concrete, that spread of asphalt is enough to keep this fire from jumping over that and continuing its onward spread. As fire crews told me, a ton of wildlands that it could get if it jumped to 321, and then that would officially put Pigeon Forge in the crosshairs.
And now, well, we do know that as of at least the last update we got, 1:30 a.m., 1,000 acres burned so far, 0% contained. What have you seen from firefighters and those crews on the ground? Obviously praying for that rain to get here. Obviously, you talked about the drizzles that you've seen so far, but what have you seen from the firefighters that are really putting their lives on the line out there trying to fight these flames?
Yeah, Harry, so forestry officials were sent home for the night to get ready to come back and stage at about 8 o'clock this morning. And so forestry crews are really back. They're asleep right now. We're just taking a break and sort of getting a little bit of relaxation and rest at least in, while the crews that are out now aren't focusing as much on the active wildfire as they are structure fires specifically. Their job is now to try and save and prevent fires at structures and not as much worry about the brush that's burning. And so those crews, as we've said all night, from Pigeon Forge, from Sevierville, from Wares Valley, from Morristown, Cobb County, sort of all over East Tennessee, making their way to where we are at now, they're strictly focusing on structure fires. However, the forestry crews will be back in the morning, and their chief objective is to get in there, knock down all of the remaining kindling, all of that fuel that you see, to try and get rid of that to keep this fire from spreading. But when I talked to fire crews, they said that, again, their expectations in the morning, it was going to be a different beast. And really, they wouldn't even use a term, a beast. It would be a different fire at that stage. And so I don't know, because that was forestry officials. They're taking time off right now, who are giving us all those details, but these volunteer crews or these city crews who have made their way into Sevier County, they're strictly focusing on saving any and all structures that they can.
And then finally, Will, just to get you here, I know you've been out a long time overnight, but just kind of your final thoughts on what you've seen, what you've heard from any folks leaving, and kind of, is it an eerie feeling there? Is there many people around, not counting those firefighters, obviously some taking a rest before they get back to fight the flames, but what's just kind of the feeling you have this morning?
Obviously, when a fire happens in Sevier County, everyone's mind jumps to 2016. And we talked with Sevier County Mayor Larry Waters at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Unprompted, he brought up 2016, and he said that everything that had happened today, the atmosphere in Sevier County, the warm temperatures, the heavy winds, the dryness that we had seen the past couple of days really created this perfect storm like they saw in 2016. And so he said if he had to sum up his words, it was nervousness. But the good news is that what they learned from 2016 were getting any and all crews immediately to the scene that they could as fast as possible, and so mobilizing anyone and everyone that they could. Now, where we were at Valley View Baptist Church is the media staging area. I was talking to a couple of the very kind ladies working that situation there, keeping people hydrated, fed, the whole 9 yards. They said that this was sad. They were on the verge of tears when they said that this valley community, they know everyone. Older gentlemen will sit on the bar or on the benches at the Sitco just down the road, drink their coffee, share stories, and even you might not know someone's name, but you know them. And that's sort of been the feeling around here, is that this fire is burning. The ladies up there said, I'm terrified for daylight, because when daybreak hits, you're going to be able to see, especially off to my left and still the hill behind me, you're going to be able to see the charred. You're going to be able to see what was not spared by this fire, what fire crews could not get to fast enough. And that's the heartbreak, because you know that there was one or two things of those buildings. It was either someone's home or someone's business, someone's livelihood. And our Ashley Boley talked with families today. She talked with one couple who had built their forever home up here after they had retired. They moved up here. This was their entire plan. And they had said, we don't know what we're going back to. We don't know if we're going to go back to a home. And so while there's optimism that daylight, while visually it's going to bring heartbreak, it could bring positivity in knocking these fires down, but it all depends on this wind that's still relatively unrelenting and how much rain do these storms bring to the mountains. And right now, it's just sprinkles.
All right, our Will Puckett out live for us. He's been there all through the night and all morning long. Will, thank you very much. We certainly, hopefully, hear from you. We also have more crews on the way there to the Sevier County area. Will, we appreciate it. Once again, our Will Puckett out live for us. I do want to give you a look here. This is a look at the evacuation map. This is not the fire map. This is the evacuation area. Here, if you can see my cursor on the screen, here's 321, just like Will was talking about, where firefighters were hoping that if they can keep the fire on this side, on the left side, the west side of 321, and not get it to cross into Pigeon Forge, that is one of the biggest goals that Will put it becomes really a whole new ball game after this. Now, what we're also looking at is over here on the right side, just outside of Gatlinburg. That's where a 1.5 acre brush fire has popped up. That coming in just around midnight. These are those evacuation areas over here in the pink. All of this pink. And if you're not sure, you can actually put your website, your home address in. We have this link for you right now on the WVLT News app. If you're trying to figure out what to do, we have this link for you. You can put in your address to see if you're in the evacuation zone or not. One of the other things we've heard a lot from officials is if you're not sure if you're in the evacuation zone or not, get out. If you're not sure, just leave. It better be safe than sorry here. And then here's also a look at numerous shelters that have been set up in the area. Seymour Heights Christian Church. And then also this one we've heard a lot about, the Pigeon Forge Community Center. They are asking if you're coming to bring pillows, bring blankets. It is set up as a place, but not truly acting as a full-blown shelter right now. That is not the case once you get down to the Gatlinburg Convention Center that is acting as a shelter. But obviously a lot of folks from the Gatlinburg area evacuating to the Convention Center. One of our executive producers, Sarah Callahan, actually is followed in the Chattanooga Fire Department, helping them as they were moving down the interstate. You can see on your screen right now, Chattanooga firefighters making their way into town. One of the things she said is she was at the American Legion there in Gatlinburg. She said that the firefighters they were concerned, but they're very hopeful about this rain and what's to come from it. No structures burned in Gatlinburg so far. Well, we've heard about the Indigo Valley fire, which is what they're naming the Wares Valley fire. The Indigo Lane fire, excuse me, is what they're naming that wildfire that is now 1,000 acres in Wares Valley. 35 structures burned over there. But in Gatlinburg, 1.5 acres, no structures impacted yet. But some of the people that our Sarah Callahan talked to said that they very much have 2016 on their mind, of course, but that they're very optimistic. They're hopeful. She actually said there was a positive mood. There was an upbeat mood that folks this time around, there may be some losses of real estate, some losses of structures, but that people kind of know the drill, know what's going on. They've been prepared. We've talked about this since 2016, how to make your home fire, weather aware and staying on top of things like that. And people have an upbeat, positive mood, believe it or not. And that's what our Sarah Callahan said was the mood over at the American Legion. Once again, that Gatlinburg brush fire, about 1.5 acres as we're looking again at the evacuation map. I mean, this thing is massive, going all the way from 411 into the park. Here's the Fighting Creek Gap Road up in the park near the Smokies. So inching closer to the mountains and the national park. But here you can see where that fire is pushing to the northeast. Once again, 1,000 acres burned, 0% contained. 0% contained as of 1:30 this morning. But we do have that rain moving through, those storms moving through. Everyone on the ground praying and hoping that that can put a major dent in this fire. But those crews still not resting their laurels on that, not resting on this rain coming. They say they hope it'll put a dent in there, but they're not 100% sure that it's going to extinguish these flames once this rain comes through. It's just been so dry and so windy, and obviously those winds still continue this morning. We are going to take a break. We're going to have a lot more coming up for you in a 1 hour on WVLT News. Whitney Turner will be on the desk at 4:30. Myself and Casey Wheelis hopping on just after that. We've got more crews inbound to Sevier County. And with that being said, one of the other things that we've heard a lot from citizens and residents of Sevier County is that if you don't live there, if you do not need to get there, don't go. People are still trying to evacuate. That was a big issue yesterday with folks trying to, drive up the mountain, get a little tour of what was going on with that entire mountain evacuating and people coming back the other way down the roads. That's one of the problems, obviously, with fighting these fires is the width of the road, not major thoroughfares going through these mountains where these fires are. Small roads, sometimes one lane. Crews need to get up there. Residents need to get down. The last thing they need is a bunch of cars driving through the area. So if you can't avoid the area, if you have drones, they also ask do not fly drones in this area. They've got helicopters coming in. They've got drones of their own. They say if you fly, we can't fly. That's one of the things that we've heard reiterated from folks there on the ground and officials with the Forestry Service and the numerous fire departments. Obviously, Chattanooga Fire Department in town now helping out. Everyone really throwing the kitchen sink at this, trying to get this fire under control while these rains come in and hopefully can put a massive dent in this. But still, 1:30 a.m., our latest update, 35 structures involved, 1,000 acres moving northeast, 0% contained at the Indigo Lane fire in Wares Valley. One more time, I'll leave you here with this evacuation map. If you are anywhere close to this, they say, yes, you can put in your address here. You can search to see if you are inside the zone or not. But if you are anywhere, especially once you look to the northeast here, Pleasant Hill area, if you can, it is a luxury for some to be able to just pick up and go to a relative's house. If you can do that, I would advise you do that. They said if you are anywhere close to this, please evacuate. There are numerous shelters you can go to. The Pigeon Forge Community Center, they ask that you bring everything you need there, though. You'll be on the ground. Pillows, blankets, whatever you got that you can hold down you and your family for the night there, you can definitely do that. Of course, the Gatlinburg Convention Center, that's one of the main evacuation points for the folks getting evacuated from that 1.5 acre brush fire in Gatlinburg, and also getting closer to Seymour Heights Christian Church as well. We've got all this information for you right now on the WVLT News app online. Here's one more live look in. As you can see, those police officers and firefighters making sure that that area is clear. And I want to show you one more time this video right here. Will Puckett shot this. This is the fire right before midnight in Wares Valley, the Indigo Lane fire. And then, really, just an hour later, everything, that glow starting to intensify, those flames, really getting how vivid those flames are from how far back he is in just an hour or two is remarkable. But firefighters hoping that rain can put a major dent in it. Heather's going to have everything you need to know about that forecast, about that weather, and obviously if this can help these firefighters and take a big chunk out of what they're battling right now. As of right now, it is still 0% contained. We do appreciate you joining us. If you have just been tuning in, we'll see you on WVLT News at 4:30. We will be live. We will have team coverage. All things fires, all things. We're going to update you on the evacuation shelters. Hopefully hear some more from public officials with another update, as that last one we have is at 1:30 this morning. We appreciate you tuning in. I'm Harry Sullivan. We'll see you on WVLT News at 4:30, going all the way till 9. We're 7 to 9 on the CW Knoxville.